Hi there, my name is Patrick Oluwadamilare Claudius, and in this presentation, I'll be discussing on preliminary business plan. So sit back, relax, and follow me as I run through this slide. Starting with introduction of the business that is in view, Liverpay.io is actually the business case studies that I will be using in this presentation. Essentially, Liverpay.io is a project that I founded around August year 2022. And after it was founded, I was able to reach out to all other friends, including learners inside of Nexford Universities and some of my other friends in my space, and every one of us has been working on this project. So basically, Liverpay.io is a cryptocurrency payment solution or a payment gateway that enables users across Africa, Nigeria, and the rest of the world to be able to purchase products or goods and services on e-commerce platform while completing payments with their crypto tokens in their wallet. So what Liverpay does is to provide an API that can be integrated with the merchant platform, or it also allows users, micro users, to be able to list their product directly on the Liverpay.io website, and then users who want to purchase such items can complete the payment using cryptocurrency rather than paying with Naira or US dollars, right? So they now use cryptocurrency, which is usually a seamless process from the merchant platform down to the API that Liverpay is providing, connecting with the exchange platform where the users have their crypto reside. And so the three major players inside of this project is the Liverpay API, the merchant that is selling the product, and the users that is buying the product. So the Liverpay API is working in collaboration with the crypto exchange platform API in order to establish a seamless communication. So this is more like what the business overview is. And so in terms of the uniqueness of this product, so this product is actually backed with stable coins, and that's one of the key features that makes it unique, in the sense that the crypto market is highly volatile, and that makes it scary for businesses and merchants to want to accept payments in cryptocurrency. However, leveraging on the stability of stable coins such as USDT, BUSD, USDC, right, which maintains their values as they are usually pegged with the US dollars. And so merchants and sellers across the world can now accept payment. Liverpay allows this merchant to accept payment in crypto, as those payments would usually or essentially be coming to them in the form of stablecoin that maintains its value regardless of the volatility of the entire crypto market. And so they can choose to receive remit or to have remittance of whatever payment that Liverpay has received on their behalf, either in their local currency. For example, if a company resides in Nigeria and is integrating with Liverpay, so for every transaction that is completed via Liverpay API, the merchant can choose to get remitted in cryptocurrency, which is stablecoin, or they can opt for the local fiat currency, which is Naira. And so this is the uniqueness of this of the Liverpay.io project. And so before diving deeper, right, so it should be noted that entrepreneurship comes with uncertainty and with quite a lot of risk. Of course, it's not really a get rich quick scheme. And so as I run through this slide, I'll be touching base on some of the challenges and how I have been able to structure things out to be able to achieve my desired goal in this project. looking at the business plan that we have. And so the starting point is to get the business registered, to have a regulatory framework, to make sure that we are in compliance with the regulatory framework that exists in the place where the business is emanating from, which is Nigeria. And so that begins with registration with the Corporate Affairs Commission, and then getting a license to operate a blockchain company with the Security and Exchange Commission in Nigeria. So this is the part that we are working on, and I have, as the founder of the business, I've stayed on top of this to make sure that we have every requirement met in this regard. Because before we can be integrated with any merchant, they want to know if we are registered business. We want to know if we are licensed to operate. They want to know if there will be a guarantee for whatever money that we are receiving on their behalf. And so the business scope is to provide a payment solution that is built on stablecoin, as earlier mentioned, by leveraging the power of blockchain to deliver the first decentralized payments system in Africa. One of the key benefits of the blockchain technology is the fact that transactions are essentially very fast. The blockchain technology is decentralized in nature, and what we are doing is to eventually enter fully into decentralization, such that um, everything is done without having to rely on any middle parties to work things out in whatever we are building. And so, as time goes on, we will be introducing the usage of smart contracts, which will be built with Solidity inside of this project to sort of help us automate some of the processes without having to keep to have so much into it. So this will be where we will be evolving into. And so the blockchain technology is a distributed ledger, right? Which means that transaction is pretty much in the open space, right? However, we would also be leveraging on some of the um, evolving technology that is helping to that is building on the blockchain technology to enhance the privacy of the system, which is the zero knowledge technology. This is our future plan in order to make sure that this project eventually attain its full capacity. And so USD accessibility is also a challenge, which is one of the things that our business plan is a problem our business plan is solving within the African market, uh, or internationally, globally. Every purchase is usually completed with United States dollars. For example, in Nigeria, in recent time, for the last 1-2 months, it has been very difficult for members of the public to have access to US dollars, as government is currently rationalizing this currency. And so it makes it almost impossible for anyone to shop for items internationally. It makes it almost impossible for us to complete payments when we are buying, hosting, buying technological gadgets, or even paying school fee, tuition fee, or medical fee. It has become almost impossible. For instance, if you're going to be paying for tuition fee with USD, you will have to give about 2 months notice to the commercial bank before this can be sourced, and there's a restriction on the amount that can be used, right? So all of these are challenges that is bedeviling the African society. And so with what we are offering, right? So it means that with LiverPay stablecoin backed technology, it means that payment can be completed with cryptocurrency, and the merchant, whether they exist inside of Nigeria or Africa or anywhere in the world, they can go and withdraw the payment back to their own wallet or to their own bank account in their own local currency without having to rely on Nigeria. So that's essentially what we are, the solution that we are bringing to the market, right? So leverage our target audience is, of course, to leverage the youthful population that reside in Nigeria. According to a research put forward by KuCon, in 2019, 2020, and it says that about 35% of Nigerians are currently involved with cryptocurrency, and inside of that 35%, inside of that 35%, 52% of them are youth between age 18 to 40. So essentially, that's about 35 million Nigerians who are top players in the crypto ecosystem. And so this is our target market. Aside from that, that's on the user side. So on the merchant side, we're looking at top e-commerce partner merchant or platforms such as Jumia, Konga, Alibaba, AliExpress, Amazon, eBay. We're looking at partnership with them. Also betting companies such as Bet Niger, Bet360, as well as other micro sellers who are who may not be able to afford a full-fledged e-commerce platform but still want to sell. So we provide a means for them to list their products on the liverpay.io website while they pay a token. This will be discussed further in my subsequent slide. All right, so looking at our revenue, the component of our business model, which is touching based on the revenue model. So the major revenue model that we have adopted is actually two. The first one is this transactional model. Right, so with the transactional model, we have a plan to the normal transactional plan that allows us to charge a transaction fee of 1.2% on every payment that is completed using the liverpay.io API, right? Also, that transaction model is also divided into three sections. There is a transactional plan, which allows users to pay, which is for regular users who shop on e-commerce platform, and we charge 1.2% on that, right? So there's also the second one, which is the real estate plan. This allows people to be able to buy real estate properties, and that would usually be very expensive, right? So the fee, the transaction fee on that is 1%, while we also have the enterprise plan, which is for big organization who want to, purchase, who want to ship in items from other parts of the world into wherever country where their business is domiciled. And so we charge 5% because of the recurring nature of their transaction. So that's why we're given a discount in that regard. Also, we have the retail sales model, which is the one I spoke about earlier, that allows those who are the small scale retailers to list their product on our website directly without having to have their own personal e-commerce platform. So they can have their product listed on our platform, and then they pay a token of $5, which if converted to Nigerian naira will just be around 3,000-4,000 naira. And so what we're looking at, so in addition to other transactional fee that will be levied on the users when purchase is made via the website. So these are the major revenue model that we're looking at right now. We're still making research to ensure that we find improvement on this. And one of the significant advantage that this model has given to us is that is relatively cheaper to the normal payment gateway that is backed with fiat. Right. So, for instance, Flutterwave is the major payment gateway in Nigeria, and the current transaction fee is 1.4% on local transaction, while international transaction rate is 3.8%. So, however, if in comparison with LiverPay, is a lot cheaper. And so, bearing in mind that cryptocurrency transaction offers a greater speed when compared to the normal traditional financial transactions. So we are also offering better security. We're also offering speed. We are offering speed. We are offering cheaper transaction fee, and we are offering improved security. Moving on to my next slide, which is also looking at the cost structure. And so I have divided the cost that is involved in this project into two, knowing that it is almost impossible to run a successful business without incurring any cost, right? So liverpay.io is essentially dependent on the success of liverpay rather is essentially dependent on our ability to manage the cost efficiently, which is to keep things at the barest minimum, especially on this in this initial phase, while we scale things up as time progresses. So what we our fixed cost comprises of rent, as we need to have an office where we operate from, as that is what part of the statutory requirement when registering with the CAC and the SEC. Right, so the rent is of course fixed in nature. So looking at the salary that will be paid to employees, the hosting and domain is usually paid for the period of 1 year and is fixed in nature. So looking at subscription for email and SMS that will be used to provide notification to users when they sign up on our website. Other variable costs include security deposit, which is entirely dependent on the exchange platform we are integrating with. Right. So, for instance, Binance is charging 1,000 BUSD. So, if we are integrating with Luno, theirs may be more or less. If we are integrating with Huobi, there may be more or less. If we are integrating with Bittrex, theirs may be more or less. So all of these exchange platforms are essentially the crypto exchange platform where the user's cryptocurrency will reside, and we will have to integrate with them so that we can have seamless transactions in that regard. And so other variable costs would include advert costs, which of course will never be um, fixed in nature, as we are looking at advertisement on buses across major cities in whatever countries that we are operating from, operating from. So looking at billboard, looking at adverts on social media platforms such as Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, Instagram, and the likes, Google. Now, also we're looking at maintenance costs, which would definitely not be fixed in nature. So these are the two cost structure that we have that we are looking at in order to achieve the success that we so much desire in this project. So essentially what we have projected for our advertisement cost is about 25% of revenue cost. The success of the entire project is dependent on our ability to be able to put it across to the users to make sure that everybody within the country where we operate, every crypto users within the country where we operate are aware of what we are of LiverPay, and they trust us well enough to be able to use us to complete transaction, in order to, as well as um, ensuring that merchants, sellers, companies within this space understand that are willing to integrate with us. And so we're looking at 25% of our revenue on AVAT, another 20% of revenue on employees' remuneration. Moving on to my next slide, which is our recruitment strategies. Being the founder and the project head that bettered the idea and invited others to join. So that was how it all started. When I came up with the idea, I then reached out to other people to join. So that was my first recruitment experience. And so one of the things that I consider is to look at the skill set that is needed to execute the project, and then I reach out to individuals who I feel would have that basic knowledge, or who have knowledge in those areas that I have identified in that regard. And as time goes on, I then structure the team into six uh, group, which includes, I then have everything divided into groups. After reaching out to people, everything was now broken down into groups. So we have the strategic planning, which would include working on strategies on how to grow the business, how to reach out to partners, how to reach out to merchants, connecting with the payment gateway, getting them to trust us. And so we have the strategic planning team who work on that. So we have the legal, finance, and investors team. The legal team, of course, work on ensuring that we stay in compliance with regulatory authorities, that we are doing the right thing at every point in time, ensure that we are registered and have every necessary license to operate the business. Also working with the finance team to ensure that we have everything spelled out from the onset, making sure that we are meeting every tax requirement, that our books are clean, and that we have angel investors. We're reaching out to investors right from the onset who will be willing to, fund the project. So we have the team that handles that. We have the team that handles partnership. We have the team that handles marketing, media, and publicity. Essentially, what we have done is right from the first time we had the first meeting with the team, we kickstart our marketing plans to ensure that as we are building the project, we are building our marketing, we're building, followers across all of our social media pages, so that when the project is finally launched, we will not be spending time looking for users. We want to be able to have minimum 200,000 users have to be onboarded from the moment the project is launched. And so we designed a survey form to help us collect user data so that we can reach out, we can mail them and contact them right from the moment the project is launched. So essentially, after myself, who is the founder of the project, we then have 6 people that is working as the director in the project. So these are the 6. These are the people registered on the CAC government registration. That's what I mean by CAC. And so we then have 10 other individuals who are also founding members, but they are not registered. They are not included in the CAC registration, but they all have the same, they are shareholders, and they have all been allocated with certain numbers of shares of the company. Then we then have people who comes in after we kickstart, after about 2 months of chasing down the project. So we then have other individuals who come in on need to basis. So if we have, for instance, when we got to the point where we needed to have designers and developers join the team. And so since we are unable to pay anyone at this moment, so what we did was to give them 5,000 stocks of the company, and then let them know that they will start getting paid the moment the product is launched, and we start getting revenue, which quite those who have been contacted, some of them have indicated in interest and they are satisfied with this option, as they believe that stock option has a way of appreciating in value after a project is launched and goes into public. And so basically everyone in the team have all agreed to commit about 20 hours of their weekly time, as everyone still pretty much work a full time in their respective organization. Moving on to the next slide. And so looking at this team structure further broken down. So the marketing team, so basically the entire team is headed by HR professional who also so the HR professional doubles as the HR director and the strategic um, manager. And so she helped us in coordinating the team, making sure that the teams are supported with their hiring needs um, in that regard. So we have the marketing, media, and publicity team that is headed by one of the 6 directors. And so essentially, she works with graphic designer, content creators, social media, and SEO experts to ensure that we continue to create awareness and have flyers roll out on all of our social media pages such as LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and every other touch point that is needed for what we are building. So we have the strategy and partnership team that works on developing the business further, connecting with industry stakeholders, and setting up partnership meetings with, merchants whenever this is necessary. So we have the engineering team, and the major focus is to work to build the API to ensure that the API meets our minimum viable products features. They also collaborate with the product team who ensure that they present the idea from the perspective of other stakeholders such as the users, the merchants, and the entire organization's workflow. And so the product team on their end conduct extensive market research, design the workflow, and provide other microservices that may be needed right now or in the future after we release the first MVP. And so the investors team and the finance essentially work on pitching the project to investors. For now, we're looking at angel investors who necessarily may not want to be inside of our operation, but are willing to invest their funds and expect, a certain um, amount of growth in the future. So this is what these are the things that we are looking at in that regard. And so the entire team is being managed by our HR director. And so looking at the product's market fit, so one of the things that we have done at our initial phase when we started was to look at our value proposition, consider it from the perspective of the users, to know what kind of problem are we going to be solving, are we going to be improving shopping experience of the users, how are we going to be able to help merchants to expand to new markets and grow sales, because essentially that's what the merchants want to do. And so this value proposition is what has been guiding our engagement with every stakeholder, such as the merchants, who are the major players that we're working with right now. Then we look at our feature definition. So we look at what will be the first, the most crucial thing to consider when we are releasing the first phase of our project or of our product, which is the MVP, the minimum viable product. So we look at having a registration page for the merchant to be able to register their business. They should have a dashboard where they can keep track of things, request for funds, whenever they want their funds to be remitted. They want to monitor transactions that have been going on through our API. They want to be able to track key metrics, those transactions that was declined, invoices, and all of that. So we look at the key features that we need to include into the product, and also the real API itself, in addition to the core documentation that will be following it. So one of the things that we have done at this initial phase also is to have our website, which has been launched already. liverpay.io is live. So which is to provide a means of contact for the stakeholders that we are connecting with, right? So that, because everyone wants to know where they can find us, so we've launched a website so that they can be able to connect with us in that regards. Like I said, the feature definition includes API and admin dashboard, merchant registration, merchant dashboard, remittance features, invoicing, sales start, user engagement start, field transaction start, API documentation. This is the key features we are launching the product with. And so after identifying these key features, we are now looking at building the first MVP. And so the task requires in building the MVP has been divided within the engineering team, right? So what we have done is to list out all of these features and then attach a time frame to each of the tasks, and then have the entire inside of the engineering team we have 7 individuals, and then so we'll make every one of these people to pick a portion of the task and then give a time frame for it to be completed. So what we have done is to create a GitHub repository that has been managed by the engineering head, right? So together with myself as the project founder. So what we do is that every members of the project has a branch on the development main branch. So every work that is done daily is pushed to the main branch and then reviewed by the engineering head. Once the review is completed, then there's everything is then merged together with the main branch. So we have the review take place every two days, so that we then do carry out the merge once the review is completed. If there's any glitches along the line, whoever is involved in that glitches is notified to make corrections. And so in addition to this, we have also ensured to have a documentation in place so that if we ever need to migrate to another platform or to change our tech stack in the future, one, a member of the team has been assigned to keep track of every phases of development to ensure that they know what each function inside the code is doing, as this will enable us to migrate easily to another tech stack in the future. So after building the MVP, what we are also looking at is to test the MVP internally and then test with real-time users, which is to first of all have a dummy integration with our internal e-commerce platform and then connect with a personal exchange wallet to be able to complete transaction there. So once we do this among the entire team members, we then use a real life small scale organization to carry out tests. And once we know that it is successful and we let them roll for a while, we'll be able to monitor what is coming, the feedback from users, and then strengthen areas that we need to improve upon before we start rolling out to other big players in the industry. And so we also, of course, touch base on determining target audience. That's why this wasn't repeated. And so subsequently, we'll monitor or measure usage data, of course, to know how to track numbers of users returning to use our product. We also look at the interactions on our social media pages, rate of negative comments, also track those who are referring their friends and family. So how we intend to do this is to give every user a referral code. So with that referral code, we then let them know, okay, so once you refer friends and families, you will have you have a cash reward for that reference, which they can then use as a transaction fee in their subsequent shopping. Right? So this will enable us to know those who are really referring us to other friends. Because if essentially if they are satisfied with our product, they will refer us, and we'll be able to keep track of things in that regard. And so looking at my personal growth plan in order to ensure that this project essentially becomes successful, one of the things I intend to do with regards to the growth plan of the project, which is my personal ambition, is to ensure that on a monthly basis we have 50% growth in the numbers of transactions that we are processing. This is what I have in mind. And to achieve this, we'll need to carry out aggressive marketing campaigns, which is one of our major cost implications we are factored into the project. On a personal note, what I also intend to do is to attend conferences, especially crypto and blockchain related conferences that has to do with e-commerce, merchants, and other businesses that we can potentially integrate with. This will enable me to build connection with people, and I can also introduce our business to them, and of course stay informed on other innovation in the blockchain ecosystem. I also intend to register for an executive MBA program, especially with Harvard or Oxford universities, and possibly with Oxford University, so that I can sharpen up my business skills and, of course, gain new knowledge that will help me to succeed as a business leader. I also intend to read at least one book per month. I know managing a startup business can be very time consuming, which it has been for the past 2 months. But however, I intend to read at least one book per month, business books that has to do with how to manage people, how to get the best out of the team, how to make strategic business decisions that will enable us to, improve on our value proposition and build better product. Even read books on finance, how to stay out of regulatory challenges, how to ensure that we enjoy the tax benefit that is available, that we can leverage as a new business in that regard. So I believe reading books will help me to gain this knowledge, and of course it will serve as a means to relax um, as time goes on. I also intend to explore other parts of the world, which is to create time to travel to other countries to understand the e-commerce platform that exists inside of those countries. For instance, I do know that the major e-commerce platform in Nigeria is Jumia, Konga, and several other ones. However, I cannot tell of what exists in other African countries. So a visit to those countries will enable me to know the major players in those countries. I can do more research as against just reading on the internet. I can find out what reside in those countries and how we can be in partnership with them. And so, in conclusion to what will help us to achieve great success in this project, basically, what I intend doing is to make sure that I continue to refine the strategies, to continue to refine the ideas, continue to study more on how we can improve, continue to develop, bring more values on board that will enable our users to always feel satisfied, consider every data that is available, take up every possible challenges that may come our way to ensure that we achieve the desired success that we are looking for. And one of the most interesting or most fulfilling part of the project is that um, every time the thought of building something that will solve major, that will provide major solutions to the challenges we are having within the African space has been very fulfilling. Also, looking at the fact that we'll be creating employment for thousands of people all over the world has been a major source of strength. In addition to enriching myself personally and enriching every other members of the team. So all of these has been very inspiring and has been the, the, the source of motivation for me. So every time I have to dig into my personal savings to purchase to something, I just console myself with the idea of the future reward that we will all get out of the business. And this has been very exciting for me. And so looking at the references used in this project, so these are the ones that I have used. I've used Flutterwave, Intuit, MailChimp, Lisbon, Marcos, Savage. All of these have been used to generate ideas. I've conducted extensive research through this platform in order to make sure that information used contains in these presentations are from genuine source. Thank you.